Hi, good morning, guys. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to 8 Cytron's webinar series. All right, this is our number 8 Cytron's webinar series. I hope you can hear me clearly. Okay. Yep, today is just me alone. And today we are going to cover a topic about MakeCode Arcade. Yes. So again, I hope you can hear me clearly. Oops. Guess the internet is jittering today. Okay, we will begin shortly in about a minute. Okay, I see we have a couple of people here already. Again, welcome to Cytron's 8 webinar series. My name is Adrian, and today we are going to learn about how you can build games using MakeCode Arcade. Okay, today it will be just me alone, and I'll be sharing with you on the tips and tricks on how you can really fully utilize MakeCode Arcade. I believe some of you have heard of the word MakeCode, but you probably haven't come across MakeCode Arcade. Right. So MakeCode Arcade is a different version of MakeCode, almost similar but different. They are also from Microsoft, and MakeCode Arcade is specifically built for game development, right? To motivate children, to motivate students to pursue in game development and to experience how you can develop your own game. Okay, so without wasting more time, let's get started. I have a few slides, just a few slides, and today we will spend most of our time experiencing MakeCode Arcade, and I welcome you to join me. All right. All right. I hope I solved the internet issue. Okay. All right. So if you have a laptop beside you, I welcome you. Okay, it's a bit laggy, right? Let me try something else. Is it better now? Yeah, I guess it's better now. It's lagging. Right. Hold on, yeah, guys. I'm so sorry for the technical error. I am gonna come back in a moment. Okay, I hope this is better. Yeah, I hope it's better right now. I switched to 5G. So, without wasting more time, I'm sorry guys for the minor technical error. The internet is not so stable today, but I hope we can manage to go through this session. And again, I'll be spending most of my time today to demonstrate to you how you can use MakeCode Arcade in your lessons or even for your students, and you can even experience it yourself on the basic level of game development. So today, our topic is very short. It's very short and simple. I'm going to quickly introduce to you what is MakeCode Arcade, and then we're going to quickly dive into how you can learn using MakeCode Arcade, how you can learn how to program using MakeCode Arcade, and at the end of the session, I will also show you how you can flash your program into a hardware. All right, over here I have this Tomato Cube mini console over here. So it's not just on the web application, but you can transfer your game into a console. And if you have more than one of these, you can actually play multiple players with your friends. So it's not just something virtual that you can't really feel it. You can actually program it in here, flash your code in here, and bring your game along and show off with your friends. So I will talk more on the hardware at the end of this session, and by 11:55, I will have a quick Q&A and a closing summary. So let's go. So what is MakeCode Arcade exactly? Again, I've mentioned that you probably heard of MakeCode, Microbit MakeCode, a web application for you to program Microbit. It's a block-based, but what is MakeCode Arcade exactly? So don't get confused. MakeCode Arcade is actually not MakeCode. You don't use MakeCode Arcade to program your Microbit. You don't use MakeCode Arcade to program your EduBit. No, all right, it's two different things. MakeCode Arcade is specifically designed to give you a retro-style 2D pixelated game development environment. It's a game development environment. It's meant for you to build games, but the programming, it's much more simpler than what the actual game developer use. Right? It supports block or JavaScript, and it teaches you how to design game characters and code behaviors of your characters. Okay, it's not teaching you how to program your sensors, program your motor. No, it's everything in virtual, but you can flash your program into a hardware so that you can play your game like a Game Boy. All right. So this is just an overview of what it looks like. Once you look at this, okay, if you have experience with MakeCode, you probably can relate. Okay, the difference, there's not much difference. It's just the simulator that looks like a Game Boy, but everything else looks almost the same. You still drag your program and drop it in your empty space, and then you just connect your program together to form your game. So again, this is a very children-friendly environment for students to learn how to get started in programming. Okay, from my experience, I've actually used MakeCode Arcade in my classes, and it really ignites different kinds of interest in programming. Okay, you don't really introduce programming from programming, instead you use game to attract and to motivate students to learn programming. And as they move on, they start to have different ideas of what they want to build in their games, and then they will slowly explore all different kinds of tools. So this is what today's webinar is all about. I'm going to show you how you can learn MakeCode Arcade independently. Right? You don't really need someone to guide you through step by step. Rather, you get to go through the tutorials that is already available in MakeCode Arcade, and I'm going to show you that today. So are you ready? Again, if you have a laptop with you, feel free to join me. I'm going to share the MakeCode Arcade link in the comment section, and if you are interested, go ahead and join me as we go through step by step. And remember, as we go through this tutorial, once you complete the tutorial, you will actually receive an e-certificate from Microsoft MakeCode Arcade. And if you are very keen in receiving e-certificates, I recommend you to join me in this tutorial as well. Okay, here's the link. Yet if you're interested, come and join me. And of course, if you are new here, if this is your first time joining our webinar series, and if you have any questions, please feel free to drop your questions in the comment section, and I will try my best to answer you when I see your questions in the comment section. Okay, so just drop your questions. If you're a student, if you have any questions relating to MakeCode Arcade, by all means, if you are a teacher or an educator and you wish to bring this into your classroom, by all means, drop your questions in the comment section as well. So let's move on to our demonstration part. Okay, so first things first, you will need Google, and all you need to do is search for MakeCode Arcade. The first link is Microsoft MakeCode Arcade. Just click into it, and then this is what you will get. So the interface looks more or less similar to MakeCode Microbit. All right. First, you have your projects. Once you created new projects, all your projects will appear here. What's interesting is that in MakeCode Arcade, there's actually this skill map tutorial where you get to play a mini games while you explore different programming blocks, while you explore different functions in the MakeCode Arcade. This is what's the most encouraging thing around the whole environment, because as you learn, it's similar to RPG. When you learn through programming, it's good to have a storyline so that when you progress, you actually you know that you're building something bigger and not just learning a specific function in the programming language. All right. So later on in our demonstration, I'll be going through this beginner skill map. And if you have a laptop, follow me. We go through this together. And in the end of this session, you will be able to receive 3 different e-certificates, all right, in this beginner skill map. And then, of course, there are more than just this skill map. There are tutorials, multi-part tutorials. Multi-part tutorials means that there are different parts. You have to combine different parts of your program together to create a bigger game. Okay, it's not just a single page game. It can be a story game with multiple pages. It's a more complicated game. But again, all these tutorials guide you through step by step on how you can build this game. So don't worry about whether you find it too difficult to understand the blocks. At the beginning, I am pretty sure that you won't be able to grasp what's the meaning of the blocks, but it's okay. This is why there are so many tutorials out there to help you slowly understand the meaning of these blocks, the programming functions. Okay. And then, of course, there are live coding. You can go into other people's live coding and see how they teach their coding sessions. And of course, there are block games, JavaScript games, and different kinds of tutorials. So again, join me if you can. We are gonna begin with beginner skill map. So once you click into beginner skill map, you'll be able to see that, okay, there's this little mini map over here. And you can't really jump into different levels, all right? The difficult levels, you have to really progress through step by step until you complete each level. This is how you complete your, this is how you receive your certificate by the end of the session. You can't really just jump all the way to the end. So that's why it makes it fun. Okay? You have to slowly progress, learn the basics first, and then in the end of the day, you will be able to learn, right? Over here, it will mention that, okay, you managed to program over here. You managed to program a clicker game. So this first level is to program a clicker game, and then the second one is also a clicker game. The first one is a cards and jokes. All right, so it's more like a storytelling game for the first one. Okay, so let's just go ahead and begin. Get to know MakeCode Arcade. This is the first level. Okay, get to know MakeCode Arcade. Again, MakeCode Arcade, it's suitable for age 6 and above. Okay, if your children are comfortable in reading English, then good. But if no worries, right? There are a lot of graphics images to guide you through MakeCode Arcade. So are you ready to start coding your own game? First, you will need to complete this tutorial to learn how to follow tutorials, prompts. This is what we are going to do. We are going to focus today. Learn how to follow instructions, learn how to follow the tutorials, because the resources are abundant, a lot of resources out there. As long as you learn how to follow instructions, you'll be able to build many different games or ideas, right? And then find blocks in the toolbox, build code in the workspace, and run your project on the built-in game screen. Okay, these are the few simple learning outcome that we will learn through this tutorial. Okay, so welcome. We have just discovered the most important part of following a tutorial, reading instructions. Like I mentioned, reading instructions is very important. But again, if you can't really read well, if you think that it's too wordy, it's okay. There's still other ways you can follow graphics to progress through your tutorial. But again, I would strongly encourage you to read it through, because you may miss out some of the important key points. But if no, later I'll show you how you can do it without reading. Okay. Sometimes the instructions are long and you need to close them while you work. Sometimes you need to open them to read the next step. So over here, you can click less to close it, to small to close it down. To toggle the instruction, click less or more below the instruction area, okay, like this. So next. So over here at the top, this is the progress bar for MakeCode Arcade for this tutorial, just single project. If you finish all of this, it will appear finished and you finish this one project, and then you progress to the next. This box is where you will find information for each step. If you don't find all the info you need, click the light bulb right for an extra hint. You can see that there's this bulb on the right side. Once you click it, okay, it will give you hint. And normally this hint is in graphical form. it will show you entirely on what you should program, how you should program it. I actually taught this to a 6-year-old student, and most of the steps that he took is to click the hint, and the hint would quickly show you what you should program, which block you should use. But of course, it's like showing you the answers. But if you are 10 and above, I highly recommend you to read the instructions and try to understand what they are asking you to use, what blocks they are asking you to use. Okay, this actually builds up your confidence in programming your own, and at the same time learn how to understand instructions in a verbal form. Okay, all right. Okay, we have some questions here. So thanks for the question. Again, if you have more questions, by all means drop your questions on the comment section. I will try to explain it. I'll try to answer you as fast as I can. So are we going to make a Raspberry Pico gaming device for MakeCode Arcade? Unfortunately, not today, but we will look into this topic in the future. Raspberry Pico gaming device for MakeCode Arcade. Yeah, we will look into this for the future sessions. All right, so thanks for asking. Okay, now let's go next. Your workplace is the area below the instructions over here. This is your workplace. The difference between MakeCode Arcade and MakeCode Microbit on the workplace is actually one is white and one is this yellowish beige color. And the reason behind this is to encourage students to progress longer when they are programming their game, so that yellowish is not as eye fatigue as white color, right? It doesn't give you eye fatigue that easily, so they actually put some thoughts into it now. Click in the text area of the splash blocking and change the sentence to something more exciting. So you can change this. So right now over here, instead of using text, they use the word splash. Splash means it splash the word out in front of your screen. So I'm gonna write something interesting. Hello world. That's usually our first sentence in programming. So splash, I like banana. Okay. Again, there's this hint over here for you to go through and get the answers immediately, or you can check the answers after you read the instructions and you follow in the instructions. Select next. Get to know MakeCode Arcade. Blocks can be dragged out from Toolbox, connected, duplicated, and deleted. Keep going and learn more about blocks. Okay. Again, if you learn Scratch or Microbit, you probably understand what that means. But if you haven't experienced Scratch or Microbit, I'm going to show you very quickly what it does. These are the toolbox over here on the left side. You can select this toolbox and drag these blocks out. Right, and then like puzzle, you connect these blocks together to program your game, to form a series of programs and to have different purposes. You can right click these blocks and select duplicate to copy and paste, to copy, and you can drag it to the toolbox to delete these blocks, or right click and select delete block. You can also right click and add command to write a specific command for this specific block. This is more relevant to educators and teachers. If you build a program and you want to share it with your students, you can comment it every layer, every block, to explain it to your students how this block works, or what's the function of this block. Okay, select delete. So click next. Let's see how this works. Find the set background color to empty and snap it at the top of the start container already in the workspace. So go to scene. All right, go to scene and select set background color to and snap it here. Click this empty space and select a color. Once you finish that, the program will automatically run on the left side. You see this Gameboy on the left side. It's actually a simulator. It simulates what your program on your empty area over here. So once I program that, I get this background, bluish background. Okay, check my program again. Okay, it looks the same. All right, it's just opposite direction. So when it's opposite direction, it will either splash the word hello world first and then show the background. If I pull it to the top, what's going to happen? It's going to show me bluish color immediately, and then it will show the word on top of the blue background. All right, in this program, the program will run in sequence from top to bottom. It doesn't go from bottom to top. It doesn't go from middle to top, or yeah, the sequence go from top to bottom. So you have to make sure that when you program it, you have to make sure you place every blocks correctly in sequence, which one you want to appear first, which one you want to appear next. Every rule has an exception, so let's look at the block that doesn't match its category. Set my sprite to sprite. Okay, so you can also refer to the color. Right, based on the color, look for those blocks based on the color over here. But in this case, it mentioned that the block is red, but it lives in sprite category. Sprite category is the first category here. See that? So this is what you will get. And click next. Now, let's look at different types of blocks and how to use them. Okay. You're supposed to put it up. So now you have on button A button press. Go to controller and go to on button A button press. Why is it called controller? Button A button press means that you actually need a physical button. In this case, you can simulate it using this Gameboy over here. But later on, we are going to flash our program into the hardware so that when you press button A, it's going to respond to a certain feature, certain function. So that's why it's called controller, where everything can be controlled from the hardware. Okay, in an example of the standard block, you can select my sprite start spray effect. I'm going to click the idea over here, all right, the hint over here, and immediately it will show me what I should do. Again, the hint is the most helpful part over here if you are new and if you have no idea what the instruction is talking about. Go ahead, click the light bulb and it will show you what you need to use. Set my sprite. Is it correct? Oh, sorry. Set my sprite and then start spray effect. What this does is when you press button A, my sprite, which is this sprite over here, the name my sprite. I haven't really set a sprite yet. A sprite is like a game character. Okay, I'm going to quickly set a sprite here right now. Once I click the empty blank over here, it's gonna bring me to this editor. I can draw my game character myself using this editor, or I can go to the gallery and search for an existing characters. Okay, in this case, I'm gonna select a monkey and then click done. Sprite monkey of kind player. So this monkey is represented as the player, and the variable or the name is called my sprite. My sprite start spray effect. Okay, what this does is when I press A, my monkey is going to spray an effect around it. All right, so let's click A. You see my monkey over here. When I click A, it's gonna spray. Unfortunately, my background is too bright. I can't really see the spraying effect. So I can change my background to black. Okay, so this is spraying effect. Of course, there are more than one effect. You can choose different types of effect. Then select next. And we continue. Finally, we have value blocks. Value blocks are special blocks that add information to other blocks. Sometimes they are pointy, sometimes they are rounded, but they are always needed. They always need another block to snap into the value blocks. Okay, so value blocks means that you need to key in the value it's not just start fire effect, right? It's you need to add something, you need to add a number. Over here, example, I'm gonna click this positive here. This rounded area is actually a value block, a value area where I can pre-select the seconds for the effect. All right, I can choose 5 seconds. So when I click the button A, my effect will last for 5 seconds. Or I can key in the time that I want. I can key in 10 seconds. And when I click button A, it's gonna last for 10 seconds. All right. So this is value box. You can fill in your own value. And check out the game screen. All right. The game screen is on the left again. So when I click button A, my monkey, my King Kong is going to get burned for 10 seconds. So this is, again, how value works with the effects of your character. Now, of course, once you understand how this basic function works, we would like you to try to build your own different features. We want you to explore different ideas, right? Don't just follow the instructions. You don't just follow exactly. When they ask you to use the first confetti spray, all right, you can follow in the first round, but after that, we highly encourage you to go through all different functions, explore different functions, explore different values, and explain why it happened this way. Right? If you're an educator, ask your students, why not program something that gives me, that surprise me, or that has a different meaning of it. So challenge your students to get creative. And last but not least, once you finish, it will show you this finish icon on the right side. Just select finish and you are done. So again, I spent longer than I should on the first tutorial, Beginner's Guide to Arcade Game. That's not really the game yet that we're developing here. That's just an introductory on how you can use MakeCode Arcade. And then now we move on to building the game, the first game in this tutorial. Right, I'm gonna go through faster this round. And again, if you are following me, and if you have any questions, please drop your questions in the comment section. All right, this is the thing that we're gonna build today. All right, a birthday card, a greeting card. So first things first, from scene, click select background and select color, as shown here. If your students don't understand, okay, press the light bulb. Go ahead and press the light bulb. Next, press the light bulb. Okay, you can select set background image too. Oops. Okay, so this is set background image and not set color. I'm sorry. Set background image. And then when you click, you can pick your image here. Happy holiday. Done. Then click next. Add some pizzas from the scene category for grabbing start screen. Okay. Let's grab start screen confetti. Alright, like that. And click next. From music category, grab play melody. I'm not sure if you can hear the music, but if you try MakeCode Microbeat before, this is actually similar to the MakeCode Microbeat, playing melody with different tempo. So this is what it looks like. Next. Okay, you got your greeting card. So very simple. When you start your program, it's going to set background to this snowman, happy holidays, and then it will immediately begin with confetti effect. you can try different effects as well. You can try blizzard, hearts, right? Different effects. And while it shows this effect, it will also play this melody, which I'm not sure if you can hear it. By the way, let me just tune down music. All right, so once you're done, click finish and then proceed to the next project. But of course, you can skip directly to the second level because you have already unlocked the access to the second level. But you can continue on and finish up this level so that you can receive your e-certificate here. I'm going to proceed to the next project because the rest is for you to try it out. The next project is a clicker game. Okay, it's more interesting. It has different. It's a different level program, and yeah, as you progress, it gets more difficult and difficult lah. Okay, so all these tutorials you will need to have internet. Okay, this is the one of the downside of MakeCode Arcade. You will need to have internet connection to use this web application. But similar to Microbit, once you load it once, it will be saved into your cache and you can load it again without the need of internet. But if you are using different features or if you are using extensions, you will need to connect back to the internet to download those extensions into your MakeCode Arcade. So you will need internet connections to load it for the first time. So now I'm stuck at this loading page over here. Okay, it's taking longer than it should. Right, yeah, okay, let's check on the comments. Yes, you're correct. MakeCode have a software. They have their offline application. Okay, but before this, they only have the web application. And after a lot of feedback from the general public, MakeCode, when people need MakeCode to be offline so that they can run their classes offline. Not all schools have internet connection. So that's why in the end they have MakeCode offline, and which is a good thing. All right, but for MakeCode Arcade, no, not yet. They only started their beta version early last year for this web application. They will probably in the future come out with an offline application for MakeCode Arcade, but not so soon. Okay, we are stuck here. All right, let's not wait for this tutorial. But again, you understand, you capture my intention is that you go through this tutorial and then you receive certificates, e-certificates that will, all right, that prove that you actually go through all these lessons. Let's try again on a different tab. Okay, if it doesn't load, we are going to proceed to building an actual game, and then we are going to flash that game into the hardware that I have on my hand right now. Okay. All right, it's loading right now. Guess today my internet is slower than usual. So let's make a clicker game. First things first, again, set a background. Okay, I'm going to set a stage. And then click next. I'm going to set background image to this. Okay, done. Open game category and drag splash. Game category and drag splash. So next, pull on button A, press and change score by 1. On button A, press and change score by 1. And then test your game on the game screen. So of course my splash, I have to write something. Again, this is not a complete game. This is just one part of the game. You have to complete the whole series in that whole level to make it a complete game. So now I'm done. Open info category and drag start countdown 10 seconds. Info, start countdown 10 seconds. I'll place it under at the bottom of on start. So again, once you start, it will set a background, it will show you welcome, and then once you click A, it will start the timer 10 seconds counting down. So all the features are actually quite intuitive. You don't really need to program it from low level. Once you pull it, you drag it into those blocks, it will perform its functions that it's meant to be, right? Start countdown 10 seconds. Once you hit that block, it will start counting down 10 seconds. Once it reaches 0, as you can see, game over. You don't really even need to program the word game over. Okay. And then next. So you're done. You can test your code again. Welcome. When I click A, you can see at the top right, it's adding, it's counting my clicks. This is because of the block on the right here. On A button press, change score by 1. Means it's gonna add 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 every time I click. And basically, I have my clicker game here already. But right now, it's not as interactive because it's just an empty stage where you click, it counts, and it countdowns. There's nothing animation. There's no animation to show me that I'm clicking something. So how am I going to do that? That is in the next stage. Let's proceed. So in this stage, we're going to program a button. When I hit the button is going to press. It's going to feel push. So because this is a continuation of the previous code, it will ask you, do you want to start fresh or do you want to keep your code from the previous lesson? I'm going to keep it so that I don't have to reprogram it again. And we already have our basic clicker game just now. Let's use what we have learned to make it even more special. Okay, click next. From Sprite, set my sprite to Sprite, which is this one. Set my sprite means that you are setting a character in your game. And my sprite, again, it's the name of the character. So over here at the empty log, just select your character graphics. Over here, I'm going to select button. I'm going to find button. I can go directly to my asset because in this tutorial, they already compile all the relevant graphics that you can use in this program. In this game. So select A, button A. You can edit it, of course. You can change the color, right? You can change it to different color, up to how you want. It's up to your imagination. So I have my button, and I'm gonna go next. From sprite, set my sprite image to. Set my sprite image to, and snap it at the bottom of the on button A. Again, for those who just joined, once you see this, you may think, oh, it's too complicated for my 6-year-old children. Yes and no, because I encourage you to use this hint over here. It shows you how you should follow these instructions. You don't really need to read it, all right, for young age students. So set my sprite to a press button. I'm gonna change the color to make it look same. So when it starts to program, it will show me an unpressed button. And when I click A, it's going to add score, but it's going to remain pressed. Can you see? Because when I click A, this sprite image is going to change to a press button. So now I have to make it go back up. When I press, it have to go back up, right? So that it looks like it's animated when every time I press it. Drag on on A button press container in an empty area of the workplace. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out a little. Change press to release means that when I press my button and I release the button, it's going to know that I'm releasing it, and it's going to change my sprite image to this. Okay, the button is going to go back up. All right, so now in my program, every time I click A, my button will bounce back upward. When I press, it goes down. When I release, it goes back up. Now test your project on the game screen, which we have done earlier. Do you notice that your game automatically keeps track of a higher score? This is one of the features in MakeCode Arcade. Again, you don't need to program all these features because it's part of the built-in blocks. All right, you want to use the score counting feature. It will keep track of the high score, and then when your timer is 0, it will say game over, and then so let's try it. Every time I click, it's gonna keep track of my higher score, and when you play this with your friends, it's going to, the high score is actually saved into the EEPROM, which means that it has a small internal memory in here, and when you play, you finish a game, you're off it, it's going to save the high score inside there, and then you can challenge your friends, but your high score will disappear once you upload a different game into your console. Fantastic. Now, add a final celebration with some game over effect. Over here, game, select this game over block. Okay, once you finish the game, it will appear this. You can either choose whether your game over is you lose or you win. Of course, I want it to be a winning. And that's it. You finish a game. Oops. The game will only win after you finish clicking. Alright. So again, you place your game over at this on countdown, and once your countdown ended, then it will show game over. So remember, test your game first before you click the button finish, because once you click the button finish, you're out of this stage. Okay. All right. So this last tutorial, it's gonna earn me a certificate after I complete this. And in this last tutorial, it's gonna program the button to show some effects every time I press it, right? Every time I click the button. If you are interested to let your students try out, remember that this is a recorded webinar. You can always come back to this link and rewatch this session. But basically what I covered today is just the tutorial, how you can use those tutorials to learn MakeCode. So go to Sprite, set projectile, and then drop it into the end of button A press. You can always right click. Right? Sometimes you have to arrange your code to make it more visible. Click the anti-gray and select my star, big star, my asset, big star, and go to next. Try your project on the screen. Every time I click, as you can see, there's a star coming up from my button, but the star will only move in one direction. So right now I want to program my effects to go every direction. So it has to be random direction. So what I should do is I have to use math category. So you can actually build a calculator from this mini console over here. It's a fun challenge for your students, how to build a calculator using this, because there's this math block in the toolbox over here that you can have more than this feature if you're building your own project. But over here right now, we're going to use this random. where you can program the stars again to move randomly in every direction. Okay, over here 0 to 10, and then pick another 0 to 10. So when it reaches this block, it's going to pick a random number between 0 to 10, so you don't know what's the number. And every time it comes up with a number, your stars will go to different direction. It will fly towards different direction. Right click, duplicate, and select on the Y over here. And then click next. So over here, I have to change my X from 0 to -100. Okay, -100 to 100, and -15 to -100. This is just to get a random direction for your stars. Okay, know that this area in your game console have coordinates, and if you learn math or if you learn how to read a graph, X is horizontal and Y is vertical. So that's why we have Vx and Vy, the velocity, the projection angle for your Y and X. Okay. So now I'm done. This is my program, and I'm gonna test it by clicking A. So again, as you can see right now, my stars will go randomly in every direction. Fly here and fly there, fly here, fly there. Okay. This is not the end of my program yet, because I noticed one thing. My button is in the middle of the air. All right, it's floating up there. So what I should do is I should bring my sprite, my button sprite, lower down on the stage. So how I should do that? Click sprite. Okay, can I do that? Okay, unfortunately, it doesn't allow me to do that here. All right, but let's go proceed to the next one. But if you have access to all the tools, all the blocks, you can actually control where you want the character to be placed at the beginning of your program. So once that's done, okay, you have graduated from this level, you have earned a certificate, and you can download your certificate in PDF form. All right, in the form of PDF, you can print it out, you can put your name for your students, and then yep, every level will have a certificate in this tutorial. And I encourage you to try it. Let your students try it, because it's a very fun process for students to get engaged in programming at the same time building their own games. All right, you can exclude the hardware at the beginning, but if you introduce them with the hardware, it actually gives them more meaning. All right, there's more reason to continue on with more difficult lessons. And of course, if you have more than one of these, you can play multiplayer using there's a audio jack over here. You will need to get the audio jack cable, connect the audio jack to another console, and you can play multiplayer. Right, so we have limited time, but here's what I'm going to show you. You can actually download your games into your console. Over here again, I have my GameCube, I have my Tomato Cube game console. I'm going to select a random game. So all these games are example games. You can click it and open the examples. The code is already pre-programmed. You can download it directly into your console. But of course, we would like you to explore building your own games or customize these existing games. This is Flappy Duck. As you can see, the code is a bit long, a bit lengthy. It's intermediate level. Once you understand how this block works, how the function works, by going through this code, you will find that it's actually not very difficult. It actually means something in every single layer of these blocks. So how do I upload my code? First, I will need to click this button over here at the top bottom left beside the download button. And of course, I will have to connect my MakeCode, my console to my PC. So my console supports micro B USB. All right, the cable that our old phone use, the cable connector that our old phone use. I believe most of us have this lying around at home, this cable. Once you're done, flip the switch on and you will see this. Okay. After that, what you need to do is, all right, okay, to be honest with you, right now I'm not actually connected to my current laptop because I run out of USB ports. But once you connect it, it's going to appear, you are allowed to pair your web application, your MakeCode Arcade, to your console. So you have to choose a hardware first. You have to search for the hardware that you're using. But right now, this is a local product from Malaysian. Right, this product is produced in Malaysia from our local maker, Tomato Cube, and you may not be able to find the hardware on the page over here. Right, the page over here only shows quite limited number of hardware. But what you can do is you can select F4 over here, or you can select any of these. Usually I will select Neobit. All right, it's a different hardware, but it allows you to search and pair with the devices that you're connected to your PC. So click on this and select pair device, and click on pair device. Again, right now I'm not connected to my laptop. If you connect it to your laptop, you'll be able to see your device appear over here for pairing. Once you pair it, just click download and the program will download straight away into the console. And when it's downloading, the LED over here will light up, and once it turns off, you will be able to play your game. Okay. All right. Right now I have my game preloaded here. Okay. I hope you can see. Okay. I can't really play it like over here this direction, but I hope you can see it. So similarly, there's this one button. Instead of up, down, left, right, we have this 360 joystick over here, and then we have A, B button over here, and then we can go to the menu. Can't really see anything here. Right, then you can go menu, you can turn on and off your volume, but I'm gonna leave this product link in the comment below. If you're interested, do check it out. But again, what I'm asking is that you don't really need the hardware to begin learning MakeCode Arcade yet, because there's a simulator built in. What I encourage you is to get started first, explore for your students, for your children, to explore the features in MakeCode Arcade. Understand the difference between MakeCode Microbit and MakeCode Arcade first. You'll find it very easy, and once you are able to build a more complicated game, by all means, you can get the hardware. Okay, so now I'm going to see. So again, thank you guys for joining this session today. If you have more questions, feel free to drop your questions down in the comment section. But I'm going to go through our slides again to refresh what we have learned today. In MakeCode Arcade, there are a lot of built-in skill maps and tutorials available for you, for your students to practice using MakeCode Arcade. Okay, it's not just, you use this, build your project yourself from scratch. No. And actually, there are a lot of instructions, YouTube videos that you can follow to build your games. Okay? How to build your game? Normally, you don't build your game from scratch. You build your game above an existing games. You customize it, you innovate it, you improve it. I can tell you, in reality right now, all the games that we play is not built from scratch. It's based on an existing games. The functions, the tools are from existing games. People just use the tools and build their own version of the game. And then there's this beginner skill map, and in the end you can collect different certificates. You can print it out. Okay, so this is in PDF form again. And yeah, we talk about this. You can get the hardware, right? Tomato Cube. This is from Tomato Cube, our local maker. They design it themselves by using the same chip. Okay. Any questions, guys? I'm gonna drop some links in the comment section right now. If you have questions, feel free to drop your questions in the comment section. I'll try my best to answer you. If no, then I hope you guys enjoyed this session today, and I hope you find today's session informative. If you have feedback on what we should do in our future session, please drop us a feedback. Drop us a feedback here. All right, this is the link here. Drop us a feedback and let us know what you want to hear in our future webinar session. And of course, in our coming week session, next week we'll be having is Learn 3D Modeling with Tinkercad. If you are interested in learning 3D modeling and you are a beginner, you have no idea how to start 3D modeling, join us as we have our special guest. He will be teaching you on how you can start using Tinkercad. And at the end of the year, at the end of the month, we will also have a basic soldering introduction webinar session, and we will talk about the tools that you need to begin your basic soldering journey. Okay, come. If you have more questions about 3D modeling, you can join the group on the right side. If you have questions about making stuff, you can join the group on the left side on Telegram. Let's take a look at some of the questions that we got here. What is the Mailbit? All right, Mailbit is one of the existing products that supports with MakeCode Arcade. It's built for MakeCode Arcade, like similar to this console. So all the hardware, those hardware that you saw just now, all right, they all support MakeCode Arcade. It's just a console for you to flash your program, flash your game into the console, and then there's battery built in, and then you can bring your game along and you can show off with your friends in the classroom. Highly recommended to use this for beginners to learn programming. Okay, to learn programming, it doesn't mean that you have to focus on the language first. At the starting stage, all you need to do is understand what programming is, understand the function, understand the operators. I mean, understand the basic features first, the basic function of programming before you jump into a language of your choice. All right, so yes, it's like a Game Boy, but from different manufacturers. All right, one thing good about Tomato Cube is that you can play with multiple player stuff. All right, and then there's built-in battery. All right, everything is built from our local maker. Yeah, it's portable. All right, no wires attached. It's battery powered. All right, there's the battery over here, and then you can charge it with your micro B USB cable. Okay, so if we have no more questions, again, join us in our Telegram group. If you have questions, drop your questions there. We have plenty of people who will be able to help you, guide you through your making journey. And if you are interested to adopt this into your classroom, talk to us or talk to any of our makers in the Telegram group. We will be able to support you there. All right, so thank you again for joining today's session. I hope you find this interesting, and I hope you will try it out, at least get your hands dirty on MakeCode Arcade and experience it, because what I truly believe is that this is a very it's a very game-changing platform for students to learn programming. It's no longer just program this to show this pattern on your GUI. Instead, you program this to show a game, right? Which we actually don't have it 10 years ago, and today we actually have this platform. So make use of this platform. Again, this is a recorded session. If you miss this session, go back and watch this session again, and we will see you in our next session next Saturday. Okay, thank you guys.